Hello and welcome to Worthy Woman Healing. I am Lisa Czak, your host, healing women's minds, bodies, and souls, one trigger at a time. Don't forget to like, rate, review, subscribe, all the things. Drop in comments if you have ever wanted to write a book and what's stopping you from doing it. Have you ever wanted to share your story? I want to hear from you. If you're like Nicole and I, and maybe you feel like like that, if you think about writing your story or writing a book. So on today's episode, we are continuing the conversation with Nicole Danielle, author of Diamonds Beneath the Darkness, best-selling author. And we're going to dig even deeper today. We're going to talk about our own personal whys and why Nicole was that one person that I really needed to hear from to validate me as an author and my experience of writing my story, Portal Tears. Here we go, Nicole.
It's
so true.
And
even us, we aren't even powerful enough to really break ourselves, right? Like when we think about it like that, okay, I don't really have the power to truly break myself. I'm not going to even go there.
You don't want to think about what happens when you do,
I love that you talk about the waves too, because that's really healing, grief, all of this stuff. It's like waves that come. And if you resist that wave, you're going to drown.
And it's like the storm gets really bad. And guess what? Get out of the way because it's not stopping for anybody. But when it's past and it's calm again, it's beautiful. And all the world needs that beauty, right? To make themselves feel better. It's powerful. It's something.
I got certified in a healing technique called the peace process.
Okay.
And it's really a way of getting your body to a place of peace amid any storm. Well, and your mind, because they're connected. And realizing the storm doesn't have to be in you. The storm can stay outside of you. And that you can have peace amid the storm in your life, whatever the storm. Because we can't stop the storms. They're coming.
But that's the point I got to. That's what I write about. Yeah. I thought we were existing in like the eye of the storm, but then I realized, no, I was the fucking storm. And the eye was the hope that you could get out of it. Yeah. And that my husband was going through it and didn't know. So it's like, it was two storms about to collide. And it was like the pandemic did a number on everybody. And that's what really brought it all to surface. But it's like, you got to a point where it's like you feel so out of control that you can't even control your own life. And sometimes the only thing you can do for survival is just to grab a hold of the ones you love and jump the fuck as far away from it as you can and get out of it and run. Like, just get out, like
that's what we did. We got out of New York City. We ran. But I had to check in on that. I was like, I don't want to be running because I'm worried, this predator is going to come after me. I don't want to live in that state. So I had to do some healing. I had to make sure I wasn't emotionally reacting when we left. And it just made sense for why are we paying thousands of dollars with my daughter? We moved there so my daughter could go to a performing arts school.
Oh, very cool.
COVID hits. I'm like, she's on Zoom school.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Why are we paying all this money? This is crazy.
Yeah.
So we ended up leaving, but we left for the right reasons, right? It wasn't me running, because I'm telling you, girl, I was ready to cut all that out of the book, run and hide in Arizona.
I'm so glad
I wanted to be on a plane when it happened, like that night, I wanted to be on a plane. And those people came back a second time. I was actually in my Worthy Woman Healing group that I run. And the doorbell rings. And I'm like, my heart starts racing. I started shaking. And then I had to get real with the women in the group because I couldn't, even if I wanted to, I could not have controlled the visceral reaction I was having. And I had to get real with them in that book. And I said, you know how I'm writing this book? Well, there's a part in the story you guys, no one knows anything about. And he's sending people to the door.
How are you now, though? Do you feel like if that doorbell, right? Are you good now?
Oh, yeah. Now I'm good. But I'm telling you, it took a long, what's that?
Mine is me being a producer.
And maybe that's what it is. It's like, hey, look, you know what? You're actually talking, because there's a producer that he worked with that wanted to talk to me and talked about like producing the story. And I was like, I'm not feeling that right now. That's too much for me right now. The book is enough right now. Right. And so I never really talked to her. We had a few emails back and forth because he also produced some of her shows and she was actually victimized by someone. So, and she was pissed, right? She's like, this dude produced my shows of my own victimization. Here he is victimizing you during the time he's producing my show. Like it kind of messed with her a little, I think. And I said, we can't have two people who are in this state coming together to produce anything right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's also a different level that like you also have a daughter too. Like it's just mama bear kicks in too.
Oh,
So
total mama bear.
you're not only going through what you're going through in your own experiences, there's the fear of like, oh my gosh, I have this beautiful girl in the world. And how do I protect her from never feeling an ounce of what I've felt, you know?
Oh yeah, she's dating right now. That's a whole nother thing we're
boy, bless your
navigating
heart.
because immediately I'm like, he's a sex trafficker, he's a predator,
no.
right? Because I go there, so I got to check myself. But yeah, I have to answer your question. I have finally got to the point where the doorbell rings unexpectedly, and I don't feel anxious or I'm not shaking or anything like that. And it's funny the first time you notice that. Maybe you can relate to this, right? The first time it happens, and you realize, oh wow, I didn't have any reaction to that. It didn't trigger me at all. That's a great feeling.
It's more like, why is someone ringing my doorbell? Who does it anymore?
Like annoyance, right? I'm like, what are you doing? Who are you?
Yes.
Why are you here?
Yes.
So, yeah. You are only as sick as your secrets. It is time to stop suffering in silence and join other women who are also on a healing journey, who are being raw, real, vulnerable, and honest with what they are going through in their life, what they have been through in their life. And wherever two or more are gathered, we know God is with us. It says it right there in the Bible. So there is power to group healing. Miracles happen in there. You have one woman sharing, opening up her heart. Suddenly everyone else in the group is saying, yeah, I've experienced that. I'm not the only one. There's such power in knowing that you are not alone in your suffering. You are not alone in your healing. And we meet twice a month. And in between those times, a lot happens, right? And it's important that you have time in between the sessions to practice the healing technique that I teach you, so you can come back into the group and celebrate with the other women. Hey, I actually remembered to do the healing technique in that moment. That trigger didn't derail me anymore. But it's practice. I'm also a personal trainer, right? You don't just get a six-pack abs by doing one sit-up. You have to keep doing it over and over again. You don't run a marathon. You don't go out and run 13.1 miles for a half marathon the first time, right? You practice running a little bit every day. And that is what we do in Worthy Woman Healing Group. Join today and tell yourself, I'm going to give this a 3-month commitment minimum, because I know I need time to practice outside of these sessions, and come in and get guidance from the other women on how to actually heal all of these wounds, heal my mind, body, and soul one trigger at a time. You are worth it. And I love it. So I feel like you already talked about a takeaway, but is there anything else that one woman listening?
Oh boy.
Think about her, right? Maybe she's going through it right now. Maybe she's going through abuse. She's with a narcissist. Maybe because I don't know about you, but when you start thinking or someone points out this person's a narcissist, like I started researching it. I could have gotten my PhD in narcissism, also in psychopaths, sociopaths, predators, right? All of these things. I started like research. I was like, what I really needed to be doing was focusing on how can I keep myself safe, not diagnosing him.
I think the biggest thing, it's like and that's why I wrote like this note for me in the beginning of the book. Because I didn't want to pretend with anyone who reads this book. Like, it was very important for me to just show up as me. I'm not perfect. I say that I don't have it all figured out. There's experiences I've written about in this book that I'm still working through. And I'm like, you know what? My shit might not look like your shit, but like, let's be friends and figure this stuff out together.
I
Sometimes
love it.
people just need to know that they are not alone in this journey in life.
Mhm.
And, like, no matter where anybody else is, if you find someone that's just being real, and it's like, I've kind of come to this point in life where I'm tired of sitting around for a seat at somebody else's table. So I'm building my own, and I welcome those who want to come sit at it and have the conversations. And like, it's such a beautiful place to exist when you realize that. Like, you know, and but it's true. It's like you just show up as yourself and be authentic. And I think people can smell fake authenticity from a mile away these days. Like, especially on social media, you can just
Mhm.
know when you want to go running the other way. And it's like that's why I open up too about like producing reality TV and a very small
Mhm.
piece of it. But it's like it's important for me to know that as somebody that like created this crap people are watching, it's like you're comparing your real life to this reality we're convincing you to believe, you know? It's like you're never gonna get more out of life than when you just choose to just, like, show up as yourself. And you're not everybody's beverage of choice, you know, like, I don't like to say cup of tea because not everyone likes tea, but it's just like, just show up as you, but, like, really more than anything, like, anyone that watches this, like, I'm here, you're there, we've lived through these things, like, I felt so alone, you felt so alone, but the truth is nobody is alone, and, like, while my story will never be your story, just having these conversations shows that we're all more connected than we know. And I hope that
So
gives
true.
people hope that, like, whatever they're going through, like, they are enough, they are not alone, and, like, it's okay to feel lost at times, that's way better than being stuck. It's just, like, it's a journey in itself, but, like, to make the choice to choose to take the journey forward in the right direction for your life is, like, the most powerful thing you can do. But it's hard
Yeah.
work. It's beautiful work, you know?
That's beautiful. And I just want to circle back to the very first thing we talked about when you were
Yeah,
saying how you have to be brave enough to do the hard work,
yeah, you
to
do.
heal. Healing hurts.
Healing hurts.
You ever broke a bone or had surgery? Anybody out there, right? Ever
Yeah.
had that? It hurts
It
to
hurts, and
heal.
honestly, we haven't even dove into it. I don't even know have you ever heard of the emotion code?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's part
Mhm.
of the work I'm doing right now, and it's like, having been told my whole life I didn't have a voice or my voice didn't matter, but the day
Mhm.
I was born, I was told I come from a long line of strong, independent women, so here's the fucking backpack and carry it for everybody. You can't tell me then life gives me a son who's nonverbal and it's all connected somehow. So,
It's so
like,
connected.
no matter how hard I think I am protecting my kids from the crap I went through ever touching them feeling that, as I was so generously reminded, no matter how hard we think we're protecting our kids from it, the truth is kids carry it for all of us. And
So
so
true.
this season of life, book 2, The Healing Journey, I've realized that if nobody else that came before me was going to step up and do the work, that's fine. I will do whatever hard work I have to do to heal it for everybody because my kids don't deserve it to touch them anymore.
Good
And
for
it's
you.
it's
Right,
it's
you're breaking the cycle, not just the cycle, the
oh,
chain.
I say that it's like I am literally am covered in chills right now. It's like I say the mold had to be broken. But
Mhm.
it's hard, but it's beautiful, and that's the balance of it, like,
Mhm.
you're not going to get to the bright side, you're not going to get back to the light, you're not going to get to the beauty if you don't go through the hard, you know?
No. And the thing that's magical is when you shine a light on darkness, the darkness goes away.
You know?
Darkness cannot live in light.
Oh, and that's the funny thing, like, and I talk about in the book, like, after I graduated college, I filmed this thing one day for BET Network, and I was, like, in my white hip hopping pants, the only time I felt beautiful, I had sparkles on my eyes because that was my way to be seen, and my mom looked me up and down, and she's just like, "You're nothing more than a dime a dozen." And that's, like, a hard thing to hear from your mother who's supposed that's
Mhm.
just, like as someone who wants to be this bright light, who's always told she had a bright light, who lived with her head in the clouds, who's the biggest dreamer you ever met, for your own mother to be like, "You're nothing more than a dime a dozen." But, like, as I've come to learn through life and just taking a step back and really taking the lessons in all of it, I write in the end of the book, like, I finally realized I'm okay with being a dime a dozen. because a dime meant you were a woman that had a certain presence and light about her, right? And if there's one of those women, one bright light per every 12 in the world, that's a lot of bright lights shining their light on a very dark
Mhm.
world and
It's
helping
so
guide people.
true.
So it's just like everything I try to, that was a very damaging thing that I let affect me for decades. But it's like, but the flip side of it is that's okay. That's okay.
Mhm.
You know what? All it takes is one of 12 to shine some light onto a dark world. And that's
It's so true. And I love your honesty too in saying it's your mom because,
okay.
you know, abusers, predators, fill in the blank, whatever you want to say. Like they're people that harm us are the people that are closest to us that we trust implicitly. And that's why we take that on and start believing it. Oh, I really am a dime a dozen. Oh, she's supposed to love me and take care of me and care for me more than
Oh,
anyone
the
else.
day
So I
I
must
found
believe it.
out, the day I found out my baby had no heartbeat, she literally, her text response was, "This day isn't about you." We could talk for another hour, but it's true.
Yeah.
You gotta own where it comes from and hope that you're just doing better in life.
Yeah, and I'm not happy that that happened to you, that experience happened to you. I am so proud of you though, seriously, for sharing that on it
Yeah.
because there's other women. Oh, wow, your mom said that too?
Mhm.
It's like a shame thing. It's like you don't even I work with a lot of women who have been told a lot of things by their moms and their dads, people closest to them, and they never told anyone. They never told anyone, Nicole, because they felt shame about it.
Well, yeah, because it's like you see people that
Mhm.
do have beautiful relationships with their parents, and it makes you feel like I put up a post on Mother's Day, and it was me and the boys standing in front of the Rocky Mountains. And I was like, for a woman who was told she comes from a long line of strong, independent women, there's no one the people that came before me aren't here standing behind me. And
That
so,
gave me chills.
like, Mother's Day is a day that you're like, yay, happy Mother's Day, my beautiful mom, and this. And
Mhm.
it's like, that's not like that for everybody. People, and it's hard. And so people just shut down and they don't talk about it. And it's like, no, sometimes just talking about it is what you need to do to, it's like not everything is this picture perfect idea.
Right.
It doesn't mean I don't love my mom. I love my mom deeply. That's why it hurts so.
Right.
But I also know as
Yeah.
a mom, I would never allow my kids to once feel an ounce of what that feels like. So I have to talk about it so that others know all you can do
Mhm.
is take from it and it sucks and learn and do better, and create a more beautiful future, for the
Yeah, it's so true, and that also, I work with a lot of women, a lot of time, actually most of the time, we do a lot of inner child work,
Mhm,
healing work. Because I
mhm.
say, you have to give that little, like give little Nicole what she didn't get back then, that you can self-parent now. You can give little Nicole like what did she need to hear back then that she never heard? What did she need to say that she was never allowed to say or didn't have the words, didn't even know the words? What was she not allowed to feel? And let her really feel it in your body
Safe,
so that you can heal it.
safe.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like checking in when you're triggered in some way, see, okay, where am I feeling that in my body? And then checking in with little Nicole and saying, what do you need?
Yeah,
What do you need that you didn't get back then?
mhm,
So that you can start healing that wound inside of you. Because that mom, she's never going to be the mom that you needed her to be.
no.
But she's not the mom you needed her to be, so you could be the woman you were meant to be.
Mhm. Well, and I think that's the parallel too. It's like for me, I was never enough. Like I was always told my father chose my brother and she chose me and we were separated. And so that's where
Mhm.
that underlying you're never enough thing comes in. But it's very ironic to me that my mother um cut my father out of my life for her own protection and then I had to cut
Mhm.
her out of mine for my own. That's very full circle.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
Yes.
It's crazy, to me, and that looking back, everything I was told to convince, and then I look at my poems and my writings of myself at 11 years old, it's like you see a different side of it, of how it was,
Mhm.
but you were just so convinced to believe what others wanted you to believe at the time, that it's like that's the narrative you chose to run with until you're strong enough to, like, step back and be like, "Oh, no. Oh, wow, was it wrong?"
Yeah. Like that's not true. That's not the truth. Like
Yeah.
what was told to
This is
me.
one
Oh, that
person's
was
version of the truth. That's
exactly.
the image.
It's like
But
that that's not.
we didn't even talk about the whole stay the course thing. We could talk another hour.
That's what I'm saying.
That's in my book. This necklace is the necklace that references stay the course. It's a compass. There's just so many things we could talk about, but I know we are out of
I know. I'll have to have you back for when you're releasing the other books. The second one.
Second one I'm writing right now. I'm hoping. I don't know if I would ever. So, like we've talked about, self-publishing is hard. It's so worth it because you could stay true to your voice, but not having a team of people behind you is very hard.
Or
You know,
one woman show. Remember we talked about
oh
that.
my gosh,
It's overwhelming. It
during
is
the
overwhelming.
holidays, you would think would be
Yeah.
a beautiful thing, but it is so stressful, especially when you're someone who's conscious of other people's lives and just. So my goal is to have book 2 out this 2024, to do one every year.
Okay.
And then I have other projects beyond that, but to finish the series off.
Of
I
course, there's always one in the fire, right?
because it's like you need to move forward and like, like it's been a heavy journey.
That's why I said I have a producer help me with this because I'm like, because I also
Yeah.
run my own coaching business and my own healing business. I take women on retreats,
A lot.
and I'm a one woman show for all of
Yeah.
that.
Yes. And that's
So
a
I'm
lot.
like, okay, with this podcast, I need some help because I don't like to do the tech stuff. I don't want to deal with it. I just want to do my thing and say, here, you edit, you handle all of
It
that.
took me weeks to do my websites, multiple websites. I was like, it shouldn't be this hard. Is it this hard? Why is it so hard?
Yeah, I'm in the process of changing mine. The whole thing is like it is overwhelming. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where the why comes in. We have to remember, okay, otherwise we're going to get burnt out. Like, why are we doing this?
Well, and it's so hard because and then you're supposed to be checking this social media thing and this, and then these people are doing this, so you need to be doing this, and it's like I just want to stay true to this, and it's just like it is such a game.
It's like, I feel like it's a juggling act.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
still haven't figured it out. I'll let you know if I figure it out. I still am pulling my hair out and having a lot of breakdowns and meltdowns. And
Yeah,
and then you also produce shows too.
I do. I'm actually full transparency being kind of picky right now, which
Good.
well, I shouldn't be because mama needs the payday because
I know.
those residuals don't get you very for one time. But I just kind of like and I opened up about it in like the book. It's like I'm just tired of producing crap television that I feel like why are people wasting their life sitting around watching this? And we're
I could
guilty.
see
We have
that.
our things too, but like there's a story where I was pregnant with Crosby and my husband walked in and I was literally banging my head against the wall with my face full of tears because I produced a scene that never existed in real life and I totally manipulated it so people think it did. And it's just like, I'm at a point where it's like, I want to only create and produce things that my kids are going to be proud of or that is going to
Mhm.
make some sort of positive impact on the world or like I'm passionate and excited to wake up and work on every day. So that's
I
hard.
love that.
We work in
But
a
doors are going to open now like crazy because you've come to this realization, you've had this honesty with yourself. Really, it's about being honest
yeah,
with ourselves, right?
it is.
And now I guarantee you,
Yeah,
right?
we have our
You're saying no to those things that you're not aligned with anymore.
yeah,
And it's making space for the things you are aligned with to come in.
and having our own production company, I have like 20 projects sitting in a drawer that's like my maybe Sunday, like my passion thing, but it's just
Mhm.
like it's hard working as a freelance producer. I mean, there's producers that work for networks like the ones
Mhm.
I want to talk about that you've experienced, but then there's the ones like me that's literally hired by a
Mhm.
production company to create the shows. And so it's just like we have no union supporting us. There's a guild, but there's no
Mhm.
insurance, there's no overtime, there's no protection. You can work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you better do the job and show up and you're tired and exhausted and no
Mhm.
time for yourself because if you're not going to do it the way they want it done, there's 300 people begging for that job. So it's just like, you go
Mhm.
through the cycle of taking the job because you need the paycheck, because you need the work, because it's just, but it gets to a point where you're just like, and I open about that during, my first miscarriage and what the stresses of that job was. And it's like I still showed up at work the next day because the work had to get done. But you have to like sometimes question at what cost. And like
Right.
I think especially the past couple of years, people are really bringing to light the importance of mental health. And there's a lot of people
Mhm.
that I know that I've worked with that are no longer on this earth because of it. There's people that are seriously struggling with PTSD and depression and anxiety and tons of issues from working kind of job in the business that we were. It's a lot, and if you're not sitting there taking care of yourself, it can wear you down. So it's like that's why I say I'm being very
Mhm.
choosy because if it's not me waking up being excited to create, then it's not worth it. at this point.
I absolutely love that you're saying all of this. That, like you said, that's not easy to do,
No.
but I guarantee you doors will open, opportunities are going to come your way that you never even imagined because you're thinking differently. You're going to start attracting that in. It's
Manifest that
crazy.
2024.
Yeah, you're going to be like, I feel like we're going to be talking on our a next podcast episode. And the two of us are going to be like, look at this, we got a stats. We got money flowing in. We're doing good, girl.
Well, I love Tennessee, so if anything comes up, let me know and I'll be on a plane.
Seriously, I will definitely. I mean, I would love to see more shows like what you're talking about. And I don't watch a lot of TV actually because of that reason. And I really only like true stories.
My biggest passion project like that I've created involves music and it involves humanity and doing good for the world. And like I was talking to Zach Brown's people, and it's just like, but then you realize you're also one person. So it's like I'm very aware of like I can do what I can do myself. But like even having this conversation, it's like when you find like-minded soul sisters in this world that just want to exude positive energy and light onto others, it's like the things you can do together is, you know,
right? It's
pretty.
so true. It's what you talked about, community. You mentioned that a couple times, a few times actually, you mentioned having this community with your boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's absolutely true. When you find that community of like-minded women, that's why I run a lot of groups or take women on retreats, because it's so important for us to come together and just share, right? And be
And
like,
it's so important because honestly, and that's a piece that's resonating with a lot of people in my book. It's like with motherhood and honestly, my boy's autism journey. When I say I was very alone, I was very alone. And I talk very openly, and people are not happy with me about the fact that I didn't have a village. And I'm like, you know what, even if I was bitchy and tired, I did it without one. And that sucks. That sucks. That like you don't have people knocking on the door, bringing you a casserole or like rocking the baby so you can go, what the fuck is a nap? Like, I don't know what that is. Like, you know what I mean? So I think it's like having gone through the hard and proving I could do it on my own. It's like now I kind of want to, okay, Nicole, you don't have to be so hard. It doesn't have to be so tough. Like you can surrender a little bit.
I'm laughing because I feel like you're speaking my
you know
casserole thing too. Like after my mom died, I said, we live in the fucking South. Where's the hospitality?
Yeah.
Fucking casserole be coming through my. How come no one's knocking on my door bringing me a fucking casserole? Fuck you! I can make my own casserole.
Go get a massage, or go get a pedicure, or go take a nap, or take a bubble bath. Like just breathe. Like nobody's fucking doing that ever.
It's like, I remember after I had my daughter, we went through 6 years of infertility, had a really hard labor, and afterwards, like I almost died. Right? That's how bad it was. And then I thought I had a pituitary tumor. It was hard, right? And I went into deep postpartum depression. It's in the book. And you know what I heard from people closest to me, even like my own mother? Well, you wanted a baby so bad. This is the way it is. Like, I should just be happy that I have a baby. And I'm not allowed to complain what I'm immune to stress because I went through infertility and had miscarriages. And now I'm not allowed to be a normal, stressed out new mom.
No, you are allowed to because it's hard.
Like, exactly.
And there was nobody
told me that. It was always, you're not allowed to complain about
smile, this. And you're supposed to be grateful and you're supposed to do it with grace, right? It's just supposed to be the role society wants you to believe that you're supposed to play. So just shut up and do it and smile through it.
Like, it's so true. And then I gained 80 pounds. Shocker. Of course I gained 80 pounds.
It's never went. It's unbelievable. I was barely eating. Like people who are like, pregnancy is so beautiful, and I'm in heels and it's rainbows and sunshine. I'm like, go fuck yourself. It's fucking
terrifying. Like I could think the baby was gonna die.
I've had chronic back pain for the past 7 years to the point that I have to roll out of bed. So I finally started going to a sports therapist, and she's just like, honey, she's like, in other countries, they give women, right, free insurance to go get physical therapy to properly heal their bodies after childbirth. America, I'm not going to start that debate right now, but
we just go back to work. You don't 2 hours after.
She's like, you literally have never had muscles wake up again in the past 7. I was in stirrups for 3 hours and the doctors never let me put my feet down. Like the damage that has been done. She's like, you're walking around your posture like you're pregnant, but there's no child in your stomach for the past 7 years. She's like, "You need to, like, heal your body." But it's like, we're never told they're things that we go through that our body needs to heal, that muscles went to sleep and they need to wake up. It's like, well, yeah,
Mhm.
that's the pain stored in our body because we don't do the work to heal it. Anyways, that's
I love all. I just feel like this is going to resonate with more than one woman. So many women are going to resonate. Wow, they covered everything in
I
that
know, there's so much
episode.
more still to cover. Thank you for letting me show up as me, my beanies and all. Like, it's been I love
Are
that
you
you wear
kidding
hats.
me?
Your hats are so fun. I was expecting a hat today.
I know. Normally, but I actually washed my hair. So
We wear it when the things are crazy and we don't, and it just looks
when
fine.
my hair, yeah, exactly. When my hair or if the grays are growing in, I'm like, okay, it's hat time. I have
That's
so
hot.
many
I mean,
hats.
I'm a big fan of hats. I love hats and beanies and just, you know what, showing up like you because no
Do people make
matter how
comments
perfect
when
you
you
look,
wear
if
a
you're not
hat?
being real. What?
I don't know what it is. Well, there's this one guy that we go to church with, and every time I wear a hat, he makes a comment about it. And it just rubs me wrong.
Why? Because you're
He
wearing
actually asked me, he said, "Are you bald? You're always wearing a hat."
Is it because you're wearing it in church?
No, because then we'll be outside of church or whatever.
The
It's
older?
weird.
The older?
You don't have that experience?
I think they're just so stuck in their ways, and it's
It's
like,
just weird. I'm
yeah,
like, is it weird that I'm wearing a hat?
yeah, we're not going to get in this conversation right now, but my husband's grandfather literally didn't come to our wedding in Hawaii because he told him God told him not to. So,
What?
some older
Tell him
people
that was not God. That was
very
not God
stuck
who
in their
said that.
ways of how they think things are supposed to be and get offensive if it's not how they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
well, I still do. I still wear whatever I
wear your
want to
hat
wear,
and
but
own it because that's you. Who cares?
that's
So,
true, right? I know. This has been amazing.
oh, it's
I
been
can't
so
thank you enough.
wonderful.
Hold on.
No, thank you.
I'm gonna turn off record.